Global Glimpse brings you a clear and focused story today. We are looking at the small but significant nation of Denmark, a country that charted a uniquely firm course through Europe's migration crisis. The question: how did Denmark implement one of the continent's most stringent and effective strategies to control irregular migration? This is a story best told through maps, data, and a step-by-step breakdown of policy. It is a map-led explainer designed to present facts as they unfolded. Our journey begins with a map of Europe. Then the northern reaches. Denmark emerges. Denmark, a peninsula and an archipelago, a gateway to Scandinavia. In the mid-2010s, major migratory routes channeled hundreds of thousands northward, largely via the Balkan route into Germany, then Denmark. The maps show a clear convergence, a funnel pointing at Denmark's southern frontier. Specific choke points, like the crossing near Padborg, faced intense pressure. The pressure wasn't only on land. A long coastline added maritime challenges. Denmark chose not to follow more open-door policies of some neighbors. Instead, it constructed a multi-layered approach with one primary goal: reduce the pull for those without a legal right to stay. We will trace routes, pinpoint border nodes, and examine the policies that reshaped flows. Balancing national interest, social cohesion, and humanitarian obligations through maps and measurable outcomes. The government framed the issue in stark terms: rising illegal or irregular arrivals and unauthorized stays. Legalistic definitions let policy anchor around upholding national law. An illegal migrant, one who entered without authorization or remained after rejection. The frame shifted from humanitarian crisis to law and order management. How to protect sovereign borders from unauthorized entry. How to process claims fairly and fast. How to keep public services stable for legal residents and citizens. Leaders argued failing to control flows could undermine the welfare state. The challenge was twofold. First, manage those already inside. Identify, process, decide. Second, deter future irregular arrivals. The plan had distinct, measurable objectives: reduce asylum seekers, increase deportations, increase voluntary returns, send a clear message. A deliberately firm approach to restore order and public confidence. Clarity and consistency were the bedrock of the Danish strategy. Next, fortifying legal and physical frontiers. Beginning around 2015, Parliament enacted laws making asylum and residency rules among Europe's strictest. Temporary protection durations reduced, permanent residency requirements raised, stricter language proficiency and employment criteria, family reunification rules targeted, longer waits, higher sponsor income. Alongside law, Denmark reintroduced border checks along its 68-kilometer land border. Padborg stands as a critical node: vehicles inspected, documents checked. No more seamless travel without proper documentation. Technology and interagency cooperation amplified effectiveness. Coastal surveillance increased with patrol boats and enhanced radar. Aerial drones complemented maritime patrols. Together, laws, barriers, and surveillance formed the first line of defense. Porous lines became actively managed security zones. Critics raised rights concerns. Government argued these steps eased social service burdens. Brick by brick, a legal and physical fortress took shape. With frontiers fortified, the focus shifted inward, to the push to return. Denmark launched a publicized campaign to encourage voluntary departures. Two-pronged message: deterrence on one hand, structured support on the other. The Danish Return Agency offered logistics, travel documents, and financial grants. For many, a flight home plus several thousand in assistance proved compelling. Policies restricted benefits and placed rejected cases in departure centers with limited freedoms. The environment underscored a contrast with supported return, a carrot of support alongside a firm stick of enforcement. Signal sent: Denmark would not be an easy destination. For those refusing voluntary return, the state moved to enforcement and deportation. Police were empowered to locate, detain, and remove individuals without legal status. Removals required logistics, documents, and often chartered flights. Diplomatic capital secured readmission agreements with reluctant partners. Officials stressed removals as last resort, but prepared to use them. The visual reality reinforced. The window for voluntary departure would close. Border control to final removal, a closed operational loop. Next, integration for the few, departure for the many, and international cooperation. Denmark's hard line on illegal migration did not mean total closure. A parallel system supported those granted the right to stay, language, orientation, jobs, while others moved toward departure. Investments sped up decisions, helping approvals integrate sooner and rejections exit faster. A predictable system for everyone, inclusion for the vetted, resolution for the rest. Cooperation with Germany coordinated border surveillance and information sharing. Support to transit states strengthened upstream controls. Readmission deals with origin countries became essential. Denmark pushed for tougher EU external border measures and offshore processing debates. Applications dropped dramatically. Denmark fell too among the lowest in the EU. Pressure on services eased, local stability improved. Yet the human side remains debated. Rights groups flagged hard cases and separations. The model highlights a tension: border control versus obligations to those seeking refuge. Lessons: clarity in law, diligence in border control, incentives for return and consequences for staying, active diplomacy. Define the problem and pursue a focused, multi-layered solution. Global Glimpse closes with this thought: one small country, through deliberate and decisive action, can reshape its reality in a world in motion.